Hey everyone, Aaron here. Welcome to another anime impression. So, as I promised earlier today, if you haven't checked that, I'm going to link in the preview section on the outro my Boku no Hero Academia video that I did impression of, so you can go check that out. But I promised in that video that I was going to do another one, ReZero, because ReZero is something I've been hyped up for beyond hyped. Boku no Hero has been hyped up for everyone else. For me, because I'm a huge fan of Steins Gate, I heard White Fox is making a similar series to like Steins Gate, like something similar that was ReZero, and honestly, I couldn't wait longer to do this. So I ended up watching it a little while ago. I watched the first one, then I had to do some stuff with my friend, so I had to like watch this one later. But I watched it. It's actually split into two parts. It's both 25-minute parts, but it's a part A and part B. So if you watch it on Crunchyroll, you have to watch essentially a 50-minute show. But I'll tell you right now, this is awesome. I'm just putting it out there. I have such high hopes for the show. I can only hope that this show does not disappoint me because honestly, this might be the show for me of the season so far. I mean, I know there's plenty of shows you're gonna say, oh, they haven't come out yet, or we still have a whole bunch of shows left to come out. But right now, as it stands, this is the show of the season for me so far. That's how much hype I have for it. So the main concept of it is that we have Subaru Natsuki, who is typically it seems like a regular high school student for the most part. He kind of a shut-in. He's according to him in the beginning of the show, and all of a sudden, as he's leaving the convenience store that he went to, he closes his eyes, hears a strange voice, and is now in a fictional kind of fantasy world where there are anamorphic type creatures walking around. There is swords and shields being thrown around. He is baffled, and I think the audience will be baffled at first also, just at what the hell is going on. That's essentially what's going to happen immediately as the show starts. Now, what's funny about the course of the show is then Subaru ends up meeting other people. He ends up meeting this girl who's actually a half elf, half human, by the name of, I believe, Satella. That's what she calls herself. She doesn't really have a per se name yet, but she calls herself Satella. Now, what's interesting though is that it typically looks like it's just going to be your kind of buddy adventure type show at the beginning, because what they're doing essentially is helping one another, trying to figure out a thief, because he's saved by Satella at one point in the earlier episode of everything, the earlier part, and they go try to find something that she lost that was stolen from her by a thief. Now, what's funny about as the show progresses is that these two are together. They seem like they're really growing. They're getting this really nice bond with one another. And in a series of events, that this is kind of spoiler risk for the episode. So in many ways, I'm going to put this as an episode review. I know it's impression, but I am going to do an episode review of it. So it's going to be episode 1 review / impression, because it's going to end up being that way nonetheless. By the first part of the show, he ends up getting killed. Yeah, we have our main character being killed immediately. So what's left? What do we do? Ironically enough, we then get the Groundhog's Day effect, or aka Steins Gate effect, because this reminds me so highly of Steins Gate, where our main character comes back to life, is actually standing in front of the vendor that he sees in the beginning of the anime, who's selling apples, and he has to kind of talking to him again, and realizes, holy crap, what just happened? Now, like Steins Gate, and this is the second part of the episode, he actually is going around. He's, now trying to figure out what's going on exactly. A group of enemies he ran into earlier that he lost to horribly, he now beats the crap out of them, knowing that who's the strongest one of them first to eliminate first. He ends up actually meeting up with a thief that stole the girl's, I think it's like insignia type thing. And I stuttered there, by the way, for a second. I kept saying, aye, aye. But he ends up finding her. And what's funny about this all is, yet again, he ends up meeting this girl, but she doesn't remember him, and even worse is that he dies again. And when he dies again, that's when he meets Satella, and he says, "Oh, I'm glad I saw you again. I'm hope you're okay," and all this stuff happens. But she doesn't remember him at all. Actually, gets pissed off at him for saying that apparently her name should not be confused with another girl. So is this another girl? Are they twins? What's going on exactly? We don't know as the audience, but I'll tell you right now. This looks amazing, guys. This really does look cool. Animation wise, it's spectacular. I love the animation for it. It really reminds me of Steins Gate Robotics Notes put together. Even the main character kind of looks a little bit like Hohim Kiyoma or excuse me, Okabe Rentaro if you want his real name, and also looks like the kid from Robotics Notes, which I forgot his name off the top of my head. But they look very similar. And so far, what we're getting here is a very, very visceral show. I mean, there are some very violent scenes. One of the fights he gets into with one of the girls, he's fighting her, but then this other guy shows up to fight, and his arm gets decapitated, and you see it, and that was very interesting. I was like, wow, I'm surprised by this. That she gets a throat. She impales his throat with a beer bottle. So that's interesting. This show is pretty dark. I'll say that right now. There's a lot of stuff. Like, if you can't tell from my excitement, I'm really excited for this. I love dark stories in general. I really do. And I think this show has a lot of Steins Gate feeling to it. I mean, this again, White Fox is the ones who produced it, so I'm not really surprised that there's a lot of Steins Gate influence here. But I really hope that this show will be something phenomenal this season. I really have a feeling it could be, and I'm praying it does. I think this can be thing of 2016, spring 2016 best anime. I think. Like I said, there's plenty more shows to go. We don't know what's going to happen yet. We don't know what's in store. This show could easily flop, and I would not be surprised. It's highly debatable how Groundhog type of shows that work, that do the kind of reworking time periods and all that. A lot of those shows can be hit or miss sometimes, but this looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks like it could be unique. And I'm hyped for it. If you can't tell, guys, I'm hyped for it. I really am. I watched the first episode. There was one moment I kind of was like getting a little bored. I won't lie. That was maybe at the 14-minute, 13-minute mark where there was a little bit too much talking in that scene. There was obvious reasons why they had to talk about certain things, but I'm not going to go into those details in case you do still want to watch the show, and I'm not going to spoil every single little detail of it. There's actually some things that I withheld specifically so you guys could watch it. Because, I mean, as this is the first episode review, it's also impression, but I want you guys to watch this. That is how much I need you guys to watch this. It is awesome. Anyways, though, I'm going to end it here. So, guys, I hope you liked it. Like I said, if you want to see my thoughts on Boku no Hero Academia, I actually am going to I'm going to link to in the previous outro part. I'm going to link it to that so you guys go check that out. And as always, guys, until our paths cross again next review, even though this technically is more of an impression, I'm still going to say that. I'll talk to you all later. Please like, comment, subscribe, the whole nine. Bye-bye, everyone.